What's up, guys? I just thought I'd make a quick video about this because kind of pissed me off, and I kind of find it really indicative of what some of the bullshit that's going on at the moment. So, Anthony Fantano has been associated with the alt-right by Fader, or more specifically, a journalist called Ezra Marcus. This happens to be the only article that this Ezra Marcus has written for Fader, and I'm not sure if he's going to get another one anytime soon, or at least I hope not, since basically there's no journalism put into this whatsoever. So I've been a fan of Anthony Fantano for a long time, and I've been a fan of his second channel as well, That Is The Plan, where he does a lot of meme reviews, comedy sketches, and things like that. And I should put this on silent, actually. I always forget to do it. And I know it's happened a bunch of times now during my videos. I'll put it on silent now. But anyway, so basically, that is this Fader article is basically trying to say that Anthony Fantano is alt-right sympathiser, which is basically, if you're not in the know, if you're an alt-right sympathiser, you're essentially a white nationalist or kind of Nazi type person who is, against black people, against Jews, against basically anyone who isn't white. It's all about making the white race great again, essentially. Anthony Fantano's being accused of sympathising towards that. And what evidence do they have for that? Basically none. And the ones that they try to conjure up are things like Anthony Fantano actually interviewed Sam Hyde, who, if you don't know who Sam Hyde is, he's a comedian. He did a 2070 paradigm shift where he basically trolled a whole TED Talk event, which is pretty funny, actually. And he's been accused of being alt-right. And honestly, I don't think Sam Hyde is actually alt-right. I think he blurs the line of reality and comedy in order to get a rise out of people. And he purposefully looks for the most offensive and heinous viewpoints in order to make them so absurd that it's just ridiculous. He was a Trump supporter, though. I will say that. He did support Trump in his presidency. I'm pretty sure he voted for him as well. So there is that. He's a pretty big gun advocate as well. But honestly, I don't think being a Trump supporter makes you an alt-right person. I honestly don't. Alt-right is basically a massive step from just saying like, hey, I think Trump could have been a better president than Hillary, because he seems to be very against Hillary rather than just completely pro-Trump, although he is pretty pro-Trump. But again, I don't think that's a prerequisite to being alt-right. I really don't. He could be. Honestly, he could be. I've just never seen any evidence of it. And I'm a pretty big Sam Hyde fan. So I don't think there's any real evidence of it other than when he's doing comedy skits. And when he's doing comedy skits, like, it's comedy. So how are you supposed to take it at face value is pretty stupid in my opinion. Taking a joke seriously, it's kind of defeats the object of the whole situation. But basically, I just wanted to comment on it because what really fascinated me about it is that this is kind of what's going on at the moment, is that anyone who has... Because Anthony Fantano has thrown some jibes at the SJW community. He has done a series of videos called #resist, where he's basically kind of lampooning the kind of armchair slacktivist type people, kind of making them out to be, not posturing, basically. And a lot of them are. They are posturing. And, he was kind of accurate in his satire of this kind of movement. And they were funny videos as well. You should check them out if you can. I think that he's taken his channel down now. And to be fair, I think it was mainly due to the fact that it was basically just not making any money, apparently. I'm kind of disappointed that he took it down. I would have preferred him to keep it there, really. at least, like, if it's not going to make any more videos, at least just keep the videos there. Other people are re-uploading them now and whatever, so I guess it's whatever, isn't it? But so the content's always going to be there, basically, no matter what he does. So that's why I kind of thought it was a bit silly to even bother taking it down. It's just, what's the point? And if anything, it kind of backs him up, like with this article. Like, you know, if he really did, if it was really that bad, you know, if there is anything incriminating there, which there isn't, by the way, if there is anything incriminating there, then, you know, you can go and find out for yourself, but there isn't. So I don't understand why he took it down, really. I think that was kind of a bad move, but I guess maybe he just couldn't be arsed with the hassle. And he did say in his Fader response review that he's been deciding what to do with the channel for a long time anyway. So I guess there's that. But I looked forward to his videos on that channel, to be honest. Even if they weren't making money, I kind of looked forward to his meme reviews and stuff like that. I thought it was funny. I thought he made good, funny content, and I think it's a bit of a shame that corner of YouTube has disappeared, really. But I want to get back to the fascinating thing about this thing, though. Sorry, I keep going on tangents, but I wanted to get into what the problem is here. And the problem being is that, like, you know, anyone who doesn't fall in line, or perhaps, you know, throws some jibes or criticises the SJW mentality or culture or methods in terms of how they go about their political putting their political beliefs out there and stuff like that, and trying to recruit to their political movement, I guess. All that kind of stuff. Like, if you criticise it in any way, then suddenly now it's acceptable to write articles on very well-known publications, essentially just completely smearing this person with no real credible evidence to back it up. And I honestly find that really disturbing. And it's been going on for a while. I've said it before about other things. I'm not sure if I've said it on this YouTube channel, but I've said it just in my life in general. That, you know, for instance, again, like Sargon of Akkad is brought up in the article as being alt-right, but Sargon of Akkad has actually ridiculed the alt-right many times in his videos. Again, so if you did any journalism on the subject, then you would have known that. But, you know, obviously they didn't do that, because they just go through hearsay rather than reality. You know, I mean, I can see why people might think he's alt-right, but I mean, I don't understand how... Okay, so there's a disconnect for me, in the sense that, say, if you criticise feminism, or you criticise Democrats, does that make you alt-right? I'm not so sure. If you criticise SJW culture, does that make you an alt-right? Essentially a Nazi. Does that make you a Nazi? Does that make you a white nationalist? Because you do that. If you criticise Black Lives Matter because of some of the methods they've incorporated into their movement, or perhaps their lack of focus on perhaps higher priority issues, like maybe black-on-black crime, which is probably a higher priority issue than, say, police brutality, considering that the amount of people killed by police is like a tiny fraction in comparison to the black-on-black crime epidemic. You know? So, like, you know, especially with a name like Black Lives Matter, I mean, you know, say if it was called, like, you know, I don't know, hashtag end police brutality or something. That's not a very trendy name, but you know what I'm saying. Like, if it was more focused on the police brutality aspect in the name itself, as a mantra, as a slogan, then I don't think anyone would actually have a problem with that whatsoever. In fact, there would have been no controversy whatsoever. But I think the people who made Black Lives Matter knew exactly what they were doing when they called it Black Lives Matter, and I think they knew that it was going to cause controversy, and that's why they did it for that reason. They knew it was going to divide the country. They knew it was going to bring up a lot of debate and stuff. They knew it was going to pit people against each other and cause all the stuff that was going to come on. I don't think they're stupid, and I think they did it for a reason. The reason being money, because I mean, you look at all the people that's profited off Black Lives Matter now, and it's I tell you something. It isn't really black people that's benefiting from it, really. You know, it's like people like Sean King, you know, Talcum X, who are benefiting from this movement and making a lot of money, and not really doing a whole lot to put back into the community that they claim to care about. So, it's... For me, it seems to be getting out of control, and even someone like Anthony Fantano, who is a pretty unassuming character, he's not a particularly ultra-famous person, he's a YouTube personality. He's not known globally, worldwide, by loads of people. He's known by people who frequent YouTube. Not even casual YouTube users would probably know. Only music enthusiasts and very staunchly YouTube users would really know about him. And how many people in the world is that? Let's say he's got 1 million subscribers. So let's say maybe 2 million people know who he is, because a lot of people watch videos and don't subscribe. So let's be generous and let's say 2 million people out of the world might actually know who he is. You have to remember the population of America itself is 300 million. So it's like, how is that, I don't know. It's just, he's a very niche thing to attack. He's not the fucking president. He's not the president of the country. The whole world knows who Trump is now, if they didn't before, but now they definitely do. Anthony Fantano, he's an alt-right sympathizer. It's like, come on, man. And he's been very vocal about his left-wing views as well. Not all of them I agree with or whatever, but it doesn't really matter because I don't watch him to agree with his politics. I watch him because I find him an entertaining person. I like him a lot. I think he's cool. I think, I don't care that he has political opinions that I don't necessarily agree with. I do agree with some of his political opinions, but not all of them. But it doesn't really matter to me. I don't write people off because I just don't always agree with them, because that's just really stupid. It's really counterproductive to just everything. And so, I just found this whole debacle, however the hell you say it. I just find it concerning when someone as obscure as Anthony Fantano is being labelled with the alt-right stamp. It's just getting to the point where it's just out of control for me. I honestly believe that. I think that people going so wild with these accusations, that it's only going to be a matter of time now until the whole movement itself just collapses in on itself, because it can't really... How can it really sustain that? They're turning themselves into some kind of weird Gestapo culture where you have to watch what you say and do, because if you don't, all the people around you are going to report you to all the other people around you, or the more important thought leaders in the movement, and then they'll oust you and take you out and smear campaign you and blah blah blah, and you'll be alienated, you'll be getting thrown out of your job and blah blah blah, and you may not even be saying anything that is even remotely aligned with these Nazi ideals, right-wing ideals, whatever they are. It might not even be that you're saying anything to do with that. You might have just said, hey, the other week when we held that protest, I thought it was a bit weird that we went and smashed up the university. I don't think that was good. Suddenly now, you're out of the club, It's a very... I don't know, man. It's just really... It's no good. And it's getting to 15 minutes now, and I think I've probably said all I can say about it. I've probably got my point across at this point. I didn't write a script for this. I kind of just done it off the top, because I only just heard about it. It just came up on my Facebook feed. Yesterday, apparently, Anthony put out a response to Fader. The article itself actually came out 5 days ago, as of this video. And I just thought I'd comment on it because I think it's just ridiculous. Apparently there's some videos out there saying that Fader actually, and this, what's his name? Whatever his name is, fucking Marcus fella, actually has committed libel against both Sam Hyde and Anthony Fantano. So if they ever want to prosecute, they could. I would actually like to see them do that. They probably won't. Sam Hyde might, because he is known to push the envelope, so he might, just to make a point. He is a bit like that. I don't know if Fantano will. He usually lets things slide a lot. I don't know. We'll see. They might even team up over it. You never know. But yeah, I just think that, like, honestly, like, it would be kind of cool to see some consequence from this, because I think a lot of the time this is it's unwarranted what people are doing. A lot of the time it's unfounded, and it's getting pretty out of control. And if it isn't nipped in the bud, I mean, I don't even know if you can nip it in the bud at this point. It's gone pretty far. It's been going on for a couple of years now. You know, they ramped up from racist to white nationalist and Nazi because the racist thing wasn't working anymore. Because people could start to differentiate between what was a stance on immigration and what was actual racism. So, you know, like, you know, people start to figure this shit out, and it's just gonna keep happening. You know, people eventually, when it stops working to say, oh, you're alt right and stuff like that. Which, you know, this could be the beginning of that. You know, that people recognise as, well, you know, Anthony Fantano's definitely not alt right. So why is this coming out? You know, people are going to start questioning the whole narrative and everything. So this is the beginning of the end for that phrase of just calling people alt-right that are not particularly alt-right. You know, it's happened to Ben Shapiro. He was definitely conservative, but alt-right? He's not a white nationalist by any stretch of the imagination. And he's definitely not anti-Semitic. I mean, the guy is a fucking crazy Jew. Like, he is super Jewish, you know what I mean? Like, to the point where, like, he really loses me sometimes when he starts talking about his faith and stuff like that. Because I find him a very rational person, but, like, and I do agree with him on a lot of different aspects. But his religious beliefs and stuff like that, and his views on abortion and stuff like that, like, I really don't vibe with that. And, yeah, he's a bit, I don't know, he pushes it on that respect. But at the end of the day, he still is pretty fucking Jewish. So you can't, you know, the alt-right certainly fucking hate him for that. Because they just they think of Judaism as like an institution, essentially. And an institution that should be torn down. So, you know, yeah, so go figure there unless it's some kind of conspiracy maybe, but I don't know, I doubt it. I mean, Ben Shapiro's a pretty busy guy. I don't think he's got much time to fuck about with conspiracies, you know. He's just trying to find the stories for his business, and he's just trying to look after his kids and his wife and stuff. That's all he's trying to do. You know, I don't think he's got much time for anything else, so. And also give lectures here, there, and everywhere, and be protested. You know? But anyway, I'm going to leave it there because it's getting even closer to 20 minutes now. Because I just started ranting. But hopefully I made some points there to leave people to ponder on. Because honestly, some of this stuff is just really stupid. It's getting out of control, and it really is really getting annoying now. If it wasn't annoying and enraging before, it totally is now. And yeah, I think the left, or SJWs, or whatever you want to fucking call them these days, I don't know what the label is. You know, I don't believe in labels too much. I just have to use them so we understand what we're talking about. But if they really need to start learning how to, I don't want to say how to play the game, but they either need to rein it in or need to take a hard look at themselves and understand what the hell they're doing. Because at the moment it seems like they don't seem to care about the consequences of their actions. And maybe it's because they feel that they're so in the right that any consequences of their actions could only be positive. I'm not sure. Maybe they're that delusional. It's hard to tell sometimes, actually. But I mean, and honestly, people within that movement who are perhaps maybe slightly more moderate or whatever really need to start coming off the fence and maybe calling some people out for this bullshit, because it's not right, really. It's really not right. But I know that people are cowed into silence because they might be, you know, just to criticize and say, hey, calling people alt-right all the time isn't cool. You could then be called alt-right, and then there could be a witch hunt after you. So, you know, you're kind of cowed into silence because of it. And it's just a never-ending cycle of just irrational craziness. So yeah, I'm going to leave it there, but thanks very much for tuning in. I hope it's been alright. I hope it hasn't been too much of a stream of consciousness. But yeah, leave us a like and subscribe or whatever the fuck you want to do. I don't really care. I've only got like 5... I've got like 4 subscribers and I get like 3 or 4 views to a video. So, you know, it's whatever. But yeah, thanks for tuning in anyway if you did. And I'll see you again soon. Have a good evening.